Everyone knows that getting more flexible doesn't happen overnight. It's something that takes years of consistent work and effort. But what if I told you you're more flexible than you think you are? In today's video, I want to share with you a few different methods that's going to help you unlock the flexibility you already have. You just don't know it yet. When we go into a stretch, it isn't necessarily that our muscles are tight, which is preventing us from going further. It is something called the stretch reflex. That stretch feeling doesn't necessarily happen when we reach our maximum range of motion, but rather when we reach the point in which our body doesn't feel safe. A lot of flexibility training is just trying to remove those barriers, convince our body that it is safe so we can express our full flexibility. Let's start with the first aspect, and that is pain and discomfort. Stretching is uncomfortable. Getting more flexible initially is all about just being able to better tolerate that feeling of discomfort. One way we can help the body modulate this sensation of pain is by giving an experience of more pain. And this is where the first method comes in, which is soft tissue work. There is a misleading claim that many people are using the foam rollers to break down soft tissue or knots in the muscle. We do it because it hurts, and then when we come back to our flexibility work, our pain sensitivity threshold is much higher, and we can go further into a range of motion. We first need to see how our flexibility is. So I want you to try one for the lower body. We're going to try and touch our toes. How does the hamstrings feel? And then for the upper body, we're going to do an overhead flexibility test against the wall. How far can you get to the wall? How does it feel? We're going to come back to these positions later on and see how it improves. Foam rollers are great, but for the lower body one, we're going to want something a little bit smaller, which I'm going to use a lacrosse ball. You could use a tennis ball, a golf ball, whatever you have lying about. We're going to spend a couple of minutes per foot just rolling around, progressively applying more pressure. If you find any more sensitive points, feel free to pause there briefly, but just generally loosening up the bottom of the foot. We can also apply this pressure more locally if we sit on the edge of a table or chair. We're going to place the ball on the high hamstring, so right towards the top of the leg. You can then lean forward and apply that pressure. We can go with extending the leg from straight to bent. Again, give it a go, another couple of minutes per side, and then go give your hamstring flexibility another test, see if it improves. For the shoulders, we're going to use the posterior shoulder capsule. So we're going to place it on the floor and then lie so it's sat right behind the shoulder. We can move around on it, see if we can find again any points of discomfort, and then we can also try moving the shoulder through internal and external rotation. Like before, 2 minutes per side, moving about, and then retest that shoulder flexibility, see if it feels any better. For part number 2, we're going to look past just the muscle being stretched and think about what connects it to the brain, which is the nerve. When we do exercises known as nerve glides, we basically encourage that nerve to move better through its sheath, a process called excursion. For example, if you're doing a hamstring stretch and you don't actually feel it in the belly of the muscle, but rather maybe behind the knee or a different sort of sensation, these are the sort of exercises that might benefit you. For the hamstrings, we have the sciatic nerve, which travels all the way from the back of the head into the big toe. We're going to slump over with the upper body, tuck the chin, and you're going to lift the leg. Pulling the toe back towards you, you're going to try and extend the leg and look up to the sky, and then we're going to reverse that motion. Do maybe 15 or 20 reps per side, nice, slow and controlled, and then go back to your pike and see how it feels. For the upper body, I've got 2 options for you. The first is the median nerve glide. For this one, we're going to have the hand directly out to the side with the palm facing up. Flex the wrist towards you and lean the head away. When you lean the head towards the arm, you're going to try and extend the wrist. For the ulnar nerve, we're going to bend the arm this time and try to bring our fingertips towards our head. As we bring them towards the head, we're going to lean the head in, and as we come away, we're going to lean the head out. On both sides for 15 to 20 reps, and then retest that shoulder flexibility, see how it feels, see if it improves. This one doesn't necessarily have a positive effect for everyone, unlike the soft tissue work, but if it worked, then great. You've got another little trick to unlock more flexibility. Right, I've saved the best method until last, but before we jump into that, I want to quickly thank today's sponsor, which is Squarespace.
Designing a website shouldn't be complicated. Using Blueprint AI with just a few questions and the interactive design system, you can create a custom on-brand website that is ready to go in minutes. Create a shop, start selling your own custom products and merch is how I started my business 7 years ago. With Squarespace payments, you can get started in just a few clicks and get your business up off the ground and running.
You can go to squarespace.com to start your free trial, and when you're ready to go live, you can use this link and save yourself 10% off your first website or domain. And let's jump into method number 3. And that's using your own strength to convince your body to go further into a range of motion. This is covered by a principle known as reciprocal inhibition. This is a fancy way of describing how a joint moves. Let's take a bicep curl for an example. When I flex my elbow, I'm going to get shortening of the bicep, and then I have to have lengthening of the tricep to allow that movement to happen. So when I fold forward into a hamstring stretch, I'm going to get lengthening of the hamstring, and I'm going to get shortening of the hip flexors and abdominals. So let's focus there. To do this, we're going to do a standing leg lift. You're going to focus on your bottom leg remaining locked out to lift the knee as high as possible. You're going to try and slowly extend the leg to become straight, fight it from dropping down until you get into a more lengthened position. Make sure you do this on both sides, and we're going to try and do a total of 30 seconds. I would break this up into 3 lots of 10 seconds because it is pretty challenging. Test it afterwards and see if there was an improvement. Let's have a look at the upper body. For our overhead flexibility, we're going to have lengthening of the lats, and then we're going to have shortening of the traps. So let's strengthen it with a prone shoulder flexion lift. You're going to want to lie face down on the ground, reaching the hands overhead, fix the hands with an object, and then you're going to try and lift up as high as you can. You should be feeling the trap working hard. Like beforehand, we want to hold for 30 seconds in total. I would recommend splitting it up into 3 10 seconds, maximum effort, trying to lift as high as you can. Give it a test afterwards and see if it improves. This principle is actually the secret to flexibility training. Strengthen, then lengthen. It can be applied to basically every single movement. If you want to find out more about that, check out this video right here. Remember that these techniques are just a way of realizing your current level of flexibility much easier. It doesn't replace the hard work that is required to actually achieve those high levels of flexibility. But I'd love to hear how you got on with this one and whether you actually gave it a go. Let me know in the comments section down below. If you just enjoyed this one, thumbs up button would be greatly appreciated, and you can also hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future videos. Other than that, I'll catch you next one. Have a strong week.